Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. I'm your host, Dr. Anjum Qureshi, and I welcome you all for Beyond Education, inspiring stories to inspire the world, being organized by Idym Group of Companies. Beyond Education, it is a unique talk show that invites people from different spheres of life to share their stories with us, because we believe everyone has a story that can inspire millions of people around the world. And sharing our success stories makes us more human. Today we have with us a very special guest, Dr. Himani Goyal Sharma. I welcome you, ma'am, for the show. Ma'am, please unmute yourself.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for inviting me for this show. I'm really honored. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It's a pleasure having you on this show. Dr. Himani Goyal Sharma, she is working as HOD Professor, Department of Electrical Engineering, University Institute of Engineering, Chandigarh University, Mohali, and she is an exceptionally qualified academician with valid experience of approximately more than 20 years in research and development, teaching with leading organizations, educational institutes, human resource management. She has also authored a number of books related to the engineering, and some of her um, research interests they include computer control and system optimization, reliability, water management, conventional and renewable energy sources, wireless sensor network, and planning and management of rural energy system as well as urban energy. She has also written a number of papers and achieved fellowships and scholarships from renowned organizations. Some of the awards received by her, she has been instrumental in ABAT accreditation with the Department of Electrical Engineering, Chandigarh University. She has been appointed as Margdarsha for NB accreditation by AICT Wide Letter dated September 2019. And she has also delivered a number of lectures at the FDP and the STTP, which has been organized by various organizations. And she is also a reviewer of IEEE transactions on industrial electronics, vice editor in chief Blue Eyes Intelligence Engineering and Science Publication, and editorial board member of ITRCT, SAT, and she also has a number of patents. And her project has also received her research grant. She has also received grants for her project. So this was I think, a very, very short about her guest. So, ma'am, yeah, this was. I think it was mute.
Yeah, you're audible now, ma'am.
Yeah. So this was a short about your professional experience now. So to start with the introduction, firstly, I would like to know about something about your background, your family, and something about your childhood and your childhood achievements, if any.
Uh, good evening, everyone. I'm really grateful to you for inviting me for this channel and for selecting me my profile. And thank you, ma'am, for a very elaborate profile for speaking so highly about me. I'm just a small, I come from a very conservative family, actually, a middle class family. I'm the only girl child of my parents, and I have two brothers. And basically, my family, my father was in defense services in Indian government, and now at present, my husband is also in the Indian defense services. And I come from a very small family where the girls are not so much, they are not encouraged for higher education, in fact. And very few girls actually go for a technical education the way I have gone. So I would consider myself really to be very fortunate that I have been able to achieve this great feat and get into the technical domain, especially engineering, where very few girls in my time they used to make it. Very few girls, and especially from a family of mine, you would say, I mean, say if we have a family of 20 members, so hardly one or two girls could actually make it. So very few girls could make it. And it was all support of my father, actually, who was always considered me as his eldest son, who has always gone against the people and against the society, and he has always been my role model, actually, who always believed that girls should be given the chance to prove themselves. So I was one of those few fortunate ones where my father had supported me against all the society's norms. In fact, I would not name them, but my own relatives, whom I really consider very close to me, they have always discouraged my parents, that why the girls should be, actually given the chance of higher education, where the girls are actually going to get married someday and go into somebody else's family, and they'll be, they'll be rearing up the other family. So, but my father went against it, and he said that I should be given the chance. So that is the kind of background I have. But and regarding my childhood, since my father was from defense services, I never had a stable background. We always got transferred to different locations all over India. After every 3 years, we got transferred to different locations. So the basic disadvantage, you can say, was that I was never permanent at one place. But I considered that as an opportunity, because in this manner I could actually meet number of people. I could make number of friends, although they lasted for very short duration. But I could become versatile because of this. I entered into different cultures and I learned about them. So that was a plus point for me also. And although it was considered as a negative thing, because we were never settled at one place. And regarding my small childhood achievements, so being the only girl child, whatever I could achieve, in even if I topped in my class, it was considered as a milestone in my family, because none of the girls were, fortunate enough to get into higher education. So that way, I was able to prove myself. So that is, a plus point for me. So that is about my small family background, ma'am.
Yeah, that's wonderful, ma'am. And like, yes, I actually wanted to ask you, like, why engineering? Because as you were telling, you were from a conservative background. And yes, I can understand that in those days, coming to higher education was a challenge. And in that, you chose for engineering. So, how was it? Why did you go for engineering?
You could say that one of the reason was my father was an engineer. He was a civil engineer. That was one reason, because I always considered my father as my role model, being the only, I could only live up to him, his expectations, and I wanted to prove myself, actually. that I could be something unique, because although the girls were not so fortunate, girls were either getting into the medical sector or they were just getting married off. So engineering was a very different domain where very few girls would enter. And moreover, I was very passionate about this, because and I chose this electronics and electrical engineering. The reason being, I was very I used to see there is a lot of going to be a shortage of electricity in the near future, because we could see the lot of pollution being caused because of the conventional fuels. So I was actually, more skeptical about this, that, if we could do something about this energy storage and energy conservation and energy generation from some non-conventional energy sources. So that was one thing which always motivated me to, get into this domain, especially electrical and electronics engineering. And moreover, I was also fascinated by the electronic gadgets. Although in those days, these mobiles and all were not so much in popular demand. Even laptop was, even having a laptop was actually considered something, very unique thing, because we never had any laptop in fact, in my whole engineering, I never had any laptop. We only we used to work on desktops. And if we had one desktop, that was also considered, something very fortunate if we have one desktop, even in the engineering colleges. So in those days, those desktop was also, considered as a very fortunate thing. So that is why I was very fascinated towards these electronic gadgets. So that is the reason I chose electrical and electronics engineering.
Yeah, that's great. And it's great to know because even I can imagine that because during those days when going to higher education was a challenge and that you choose again technical education. And ma'am, one more question. This is actually a common question which I ask when I get people from engineering background. Like after doing engineering, why did you choose to be an educator? Why didn't you join any company? Because yes, that is the common aim of doing engineering. Many of the people, in 99% of the engineers will be seen in industry. But why did you choose to be an educator?
Yes, ma'am. Very good question. Actually, you've asked me. This question was actually raised by my guide also when I was doing my MTech from IIT Roorkee. And he, in fact, when I was choosing Dr. R.P. Saini as my guide from IIT Roorkee, I said that, I was actually selected in IIT Roorkee for pursuing my PhD program, and that too with scholarship. So he literally got a heart attack kind of a thing, that why you are going for PhD. Doctorate is something, because in those days the girls were actually meant only for marriage. So he also, although being an educator, I was already selected in an engineering company, a very multinational company. And he said that why don't you just get married and have kids and all, and have a family, and just limit yourself to that domain. I said, sir, I wanted to pursue higher education. The reason being because I thought that, it is very much required, especially for girls, to prove themselves. I feel that every girl in the family should study, and they should focus on their career more than the boys. I feel that, the girls should be encouraged to work, and they should be encouraged to pursue higher education. The reason being, I've seen most of the girls, like now my father has expired last year. I have seen that the girls are the ones who are taking care of the parents, not the boys. Unfortunate thing, but it is the reality. So I used to see that, if the girls are so much emotionally attached to their parents, also to their in-laws also,
Ma'am, your voice is breaking. Your voice is breaking, ma'am.
girl is yeah, yeah. Am I audible now, ma'am? Am I
Yeah,
audible?
yeah, now you're audible.
Yeah. So thank you, ma'am. Thank you. So what I feel is that if the girl is a bread earner, and if she is can contribute something to the family, the child also, the children also, they see their mother as a role model. That is what I have observed, because the mothers are the ones who are being seen as a first role model for their children. And for their family also, they are the ones who are tying up the in-laws as well as the parents also, and they are the ones who are emotionally attached to their family. So if the girl child is motivated for higher education, and if they are the ones who are getting into jobs, it will definitely help the society in general, in society at large also. So that is the reason I feel that getting into the job market, it is very much essential for every girl. And why I got into the education sector, because I thought that if you're getting into a company, you are just confined to your own job. Whereas if you're getting into the education sector, you are actually motivating so many children around you. So that was one of the major force behind it, behind this reason why I chose the education sector. That more and more girls, if I could motivate, if I could be some role model, if I could be some play a small role also in motivating the girls around me to get into higher education, or to be a bread or to be a sole independent person. I would actually consider myself to be really fortunate for this. So that is the reason I chose to get into the education sector, where I could motivate the girls around me.
Yeah, that was superb, ma'am. Motivating others, and yes, you have chosen a very good field. Ma'am, yes, I was reading about your research interest, and you have also registered a number of patents. So can you just tell something about your research patents? And that's why, you're working in the rural energy, urban energy sectors and all. Can you just tell something about your research work?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, as I said just now, that I feel that because of the conventional fuels are dying out fast, so it is very much required that we should go for some alternate fuel energy. And I have seen, especially in India, the rural sector is the one which can actually generate a lot of energy, and they are the ones who can be independent rather than being dependent upon the cities. The cities, in fact, are more dependent upon the rural area. So that is the reason I chose the rural electrification part. And getting into the patents, I have seen that even the small village children, if they make a small project, even if it is like a small project, how to generate electricity from the biomass or the gobar gas, which is available widely in the rural areas. If they can do a small project, that can actually be a patentable thing, because patent is not something always which is coming out from outside. It is something which you are generating. Even if a small idea gets into a product, and you can have something new coming out of it, it becomes patentable. So that is the reason I have worked on this field, and I have been able to generate some patents out also in my domain, ma'am.
Yeah, that's wonderful, ma'am. And you're also, you have worked and you're currently working on some research grant projects. So can you just tell about the project you are working?
Yes, ma'am. So, in fact, now I have started working on a 7 crore project of Bangladesh, of Australian government, sorry, with the Australian government as well as with Indian government, where we are actually just in the final stages of the project, where we are going to get some grant also in this. And the main aim again here is on electricity generation, on rural areas upliftment, where we are going to adopt some village around us, and will be generating the energy from the renewable energy sources. So that is the kind of the project. If we are making certain this kind of projects, it will be really beneficial for the upliftment of the rural areas. So that is the reason we are actually focusing on this project.
Yeah, that's wonderful, ma'am. You're working at a global level, the projects that are going to be useful for the community as well. And ma'am, you have also authored some books. So can you
Yes,
just tell about some of your books?
yes, ma'am. Actually, when I was doing my graduation, I found that most of the books that we are following were mostly of foreign authors, and where the students were not so happy, reading those books. Firstly, the language was too little bit tough for them, and secondly, the concepts were not so very clear to the students. So, what I found that if the concepts could be made much more simpler, and the language could be made simple, then the students will be definitely, motivated to read those books. Nowadays, I've seen that students are more into mobiles, and rather than reading the books, they prefer the mobiles, and through the mobiles they are able to get everything through google.com. Now if the book, the why the students have chosen this google.com, it is not because of by choice that they have taken up this. I feel it is because of the peer pressure, because the books firstly were written in such a manner that the language is somewhat difficult. The foreign authors books are somewhat in a difficult manner, that and they are not starting from the concepts. So what I found, that if the books are starting in a simple language where the students can, conceptualize and visualize the things. Like say, for example, if we are saying that A stands for apple. So if you are able to show the apple and then tell the child that, this apple, A is for apple, this apple. So then the child recollects it much more faster as compared to, when you are giving them some books which are, very much written in very hi-fi English. So that is the reason I found that, if we can write certain books where the concepts are more focused on the product design, and the students can themselves visualize the things, and then they can memorize it also. It memorizes, it sticks into their mind. If you give them some live examples, nowadays students are really fast. If you give them some live examples, they remember the things, the concepts much faster as compared to the theoretical concepts. Say, for example, the Ohm's law. If you're talking about electrical domain, if you're talking about Ohm's law, so we are just saying that V is equal to IR. So why V is equal to IR? If you are able to explain them the reason behind it, the concept behind it, then the students can be able to recollect it much more faster, and they'll remember it for a lifetime rather than just memorizing the concepts. So that is the reason I have, got into the domain of writing the books. So because I myself, found it very difficult, and especially the foreign author books, they are very heavy. One book is almost weighing more than 5 kgs. So if you have to read one book, and if you have to carry it home and then bring it every day, I was a day scholar. So carrying the book 5 kg book every day in a bag is like a very big task. So that is the reason nowadays the students are adopting the mobile culture where they don't have to carry the books. So that is the reason, if you can write certain books where the students can, conceptualize, they can memorize also through the seeing the things, and then it is written in such a manner that they are able to understand it rather than memorizing it, then it will be much more better. So that is the reason these books were written, ma'am.
Yeah, well said, ma'am. Actually, yesterday also I had a session in which he was a professor from NIT, right? So he also said the same. And yes, even I agree. Ma'am, there is some disturbance from your side, I think.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Am I audible now?
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
yeah, and I very much agree to it because when I started as an educator, when I started, so even that I found it very difficult taking and foreign author book and understanding because we don't because for teaching we need to understand it better. So
Yes,
yeah, yes, there are limitations because they'll simply write the concept and somewhere we are not able to go to it. So that's really good. It's a really good job that you're doing.
yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
one more. Yeah, you had to say something, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, that is the reason, once the student is reading the book, they get lost after first chapter, and they hardly get into the second chapter. That is the main reason. They get demotivated, because they are not able to understand it. They cannot give more time to it to understand it. And then the weight of the book is also heavy, and then the language is also heavy for them. So that's the reason it's very important that you should focus on the concept rather than on the this, memorizing the things.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, rightly said, ma'am. And yes, ma'am. You have done so many things. The first challenge that you already told when you entered into engineering, it was a challenge for you. But after that, in building up your career and working with so many organizations, writing books, and all, what all you have done, have you faced any kind of difficulties or any kind of challenges throughout your career?
Ma'am, the biggest challenge was since because of the defense background and because of the transferable job of firstly my father and then my husband. I have to shift my domain every 2 years. So it is like, sometimes I was posted in Delhi. I worked in Delhi for 2 years, and then I'm working in Hyderabad for 2 years. Now, shifting to Hyderabad is again a different culture, a different type of people, different culture, the working domains, working, although you are teaching the same engineering concept, but then the people, the living style, work culture, everything is totally different. And we are the ones, since I am shifting to that place, so I am the one who has to adapt to that culture rather than the people who are, the localites. Like, say, for example, when I shifted to Chandigarh about 2 years back, it was me who had to, adjust to this, adjust to this culture rather than the people around me, because I am the one who have shifted here. So, adopting to a new culture was a big challenge for me. Every 2 years, every 3 years, we have to change and we have to shift ourselves, and then we have to adapt to the environment around us, and then getting settled. And then the first thing is, whenever you're shifting, you have to prove yourself, because when you're shifting at this high level of management, you have to always prove yourself. And it takes almost 1 year to settle down to any new place. So it is really a big challenge when you have to adapt to the culture, to adapt to the new environment, to adapt to the people surrounding you, to the students with whom you have to interact. Their level of understanding varies. Like in South, I have seen the students are really very, very smart, very intelligent. They are scoring above 99 percentile in gate exam also. Whereas when you're coming to north, they are having a different culture, they are having a different expertise. Here the students are very good in product design. So we have to adapt ourselves to their culture, to the working domains, and then you need to prove yourself also. You have targets every time when we are shifting. Like, for example, when I shifted to Chandigarh, we had an Abbott accreditation recently completed in December, that is a US accreditation. So that was a big challenge, because we need to update ourselves. We need to prove ourselves to the US culture, US standards, US level of education. That was, and in fact, in India, very few colleges are Abbott accredited. Very few programs are Abbott accredited. So we didn't have any idea about like how the Abbott accreditation goes on. So, that was a big challenge. When I shifted to Rajasthan, I had a big challenge. We had to get the NBA and NAC accreditation. That was a big challenge that those days, because that time NAC and NBA was totally new to us. So again, getting accustomed to into those shoes, and proving yourself, that was again a big challenge for me. So whenever we are shifting to new culture, new domains, again, we need to prove ourselves, and especially in private domain, it is like, always you are on the cutting edge. So that is the reason, and you have to always have a smile on your face and work also. So that is the reason, that was a big challenge always. But one should take it in a positive manner. And what I would expect all the people who are listening to me, always be positive. Whenever, if even if something negative happens to you, do not take it in a negative fashion. Just see that, whenever whatever God does, He always keeps something positive for you. So always be have a positive environment, positive people around you, and always see the positivity in everything around you. So then, you will not face negativity. And always work hard, give your best, and leave the rest to the God. That's it. Because working in give and giving your best is in your hand, and giving the result is in the God's hand. So just believe Him and work. Give your 100%, give your 200%, and definitely the results will speak. So, like recently in December, we went for 8 departments accreditation, US accreditation, and we did not expect that all 8 will get the Abbott accreditation, but we got it. So it was, although very tiring, but we could prove it because our efforts were very honest. So if efforts are honest, and if you're giving your 200%, definitely God will, be nice to you, and He'll definitely give you good result.
Yes, ma'am. But I told to be honest, that was actually a very powerful message that you gave about positive, whatever may be the situation, you have to be positive. And like you were talking about working in a private domain, yes, I can understand that very well. I can understand each and every point that you said because I know what it is being in a private sector, and especially if you're working the MBA and NAC accreditation. I know we have also gone all through that. So it's really a difficult task. And now, yes, like you are telling, you are a role model for many of the children, many of the students that you have. But who are your role models? And certainly, like you have shifted to so many places, so and you are adjusting everywhere. So certainly, there should be people who must have supported you. So, who were your role models and who were your supporters throughout your journey?
Firstly, I would say my parents. They are the ones. My father always supported me. As I said, being the only girl child, totally everybody was against me. But still, he took it up as a challenge, and he said that he wanted to make me the highest educator. And initially, when I was very young, there were, some astrologers used to tell my father that, your girl is going to be the getting the highest degree. And I could not believe him. I said, yeah, it is not possible. But then, now I would say that yes, it is possible. And then again, the people around me, they have always been very, very motivating me. My superiors, the higher level management, something or the other, they have whatever they have done. They have. Always seen the positivity in those messages. So I always kept a positive attitude around me. I never allowed the negativity to get into my brain, and that is the reason I could be. I always kept a smile also on my face, and that is one reason I could always be getting motivated to work hard and hard and hard. So I just try to give my best wherever I could, and try to get just focus on my target, and that is the reason we could achieve success. And with all the best wishes of all the readers around you.
Yes, of course. And ma'am, Nikki, I would like to know about some of your future goals.
Yes, my future goal is to be like this. Since I'm very much passionate about my profession, I take it as very seriously, and I feel that it is my job to motivate the people around me to be a role model, as well as to have more role models like me who are around and who can given the message, and who can be given shown as a role model for others also. Although I do not consider myself as a role model, because I still feel that I have a lot to learn, and I'm still in the learning phase. And still, I need to go a long way, because I need to really prove myself. A lot, many things need to be done. And I'm always evolving myself, because every day is a new challenge for me. Every task is a new challenge for me, and I always take it in a positive manner, and always look forward to giving my 200% so that I could achieve more and more higher feats. So that is my future task, as well as my present task, where I can give my 200% and try to get the best output. So what I have seen, that God is always kind to those people who always give their best and work out the best. So they always give you good results. So we should always be positive.
Yes, thank you very much, ma'am. It's really good to know about you. And it was really a very great, powerful interaction, knowing about you, and especially the message that you gave so positively. Thank you very much, ma'am, for joining this show and sharing your valuable journey with us and also your valuable time with us. Thank you very much. Also, thank you to Ravi Shankar, sir, the founder of ITY, who has been working hard to bring back-to-back sessions for all of us, and the two beautiful ladies working behind the screen, Zeenat ma'am and Nehal, for their hard work and cooperation. Thank you, Varna.
I'm good. I'm grateful to all of you for giving me this opportunity, and grateful to Kalicharan sir for thinking about me, who gave me this idea in the morning itself that, ma'am, we are going to have this.
Okay,
Really, thank you so much.
Kali Chiran
Thank
sir
you very
also,
much.
I think he has joined earlier in the okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am.
इससे दूसरा दीजिए चेक कर